One of the world's most widely viewed sporting events, the annual Boston Marathon, was attacked on Tuesday, more than 4 hours into it, and after some runners had completed the race. 2 bombs exploded close together near the finishing line, killing a child and 2 adults. Well over 100 people were injured, many severely. Hospital sources said they carried out amputations.
Guys, no way!
President Obama made this statement.
And I've directed the full resources of the federal government to help state and local authorities protect our people, increase security around the United States as necessary, and investigate what happened.
The White House said the bombings would be treated as an act of terror. Emergency and security forces in Boston and other cities surged, notably in Washington and New York. The bombing brought back memories of the terrorist attacks of 9/11 to many people's minds.
We saw the first bomb go off and people blow up in the streets and there was just families all around us with kids, yelling and screaming, and
yeah, it was loud. It was really, really loud, and then people, just chaos everywhere.
Something just blew up. Run! Go!
The attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon happened 12 years ago. 9/11 saw 3,000 lives lost, staggering the nation. It was the worst death toll to terrorism the United States has ever suffered, at foreign hands, Islamist enemies. But the US has also been attacked from within. 6 years before 9/11, far-right militant and US citizen Timothy McVeigh set off a truck packed with explosives in front of a federal government building in Oklahoma City, killing 168 people and wounding more than 500. The same movement killed 2 and wounded 112 1 year later at the Olympic Games in Atlanta. There is some speculation that an American anti-government group cherishing the right to bear arms and against Washington's fiscal policies might be behind the Boston attacks, which came on Patriots' Day. Our correspondent is there.
The blasts on Boylston Street right behind me have shattered the nation's hope that after 9/11 it wouldn't happen again. But then it did. Terror is back in America. And on the day after, many here fear that it wasn't the last time. Stefan Grobe, Euronews, Boston.
We are joined now by our US correspondent Stefan Grobe, who is in Boston at the entrance to Boylston Street, where both explosions took place yesterday. Stefan, what's the atmosphere in downtown Boston right now? What's going on there?
Well, Mark, this is a very, very strange atmosphere. On the one hand, the city is still under shock, but on the other hand, as you can see around me, there are signs of what appears to be a normal activity. There are still most of the runners here present in Boston. I've spoken to some of the European runners who were there yesterday, and they said they are still sticking to their travel plans. They want to stay here until the weekend. They want to enjoy the rest of their stay here in Boston. So, very, very mixed feelings in Boston right now.
Now, the FBI and the head of Homeland Security have spoken. They say they have no suspects. They don't know if this is the work of homegrown or foreign terrorists. What do we know, Stefan?
Authorities here are really at the absolute starting point. Now, they're looking into a lot of various issues here. They are monitoring video surveillance cameras. They are checking photographs. They're checking videos, privately taken videos. They are doing a lot of things, but so far there is no clear lead here.
Now, President Obama yesterday warned against jumping to conclusions. Now, many Americans, perhaps understandably, will have jumped to conclusions. What do you think is more frightening for Americans? Is it a domestic or is it a foreign threat?
Well, this is the $50 million question. It is absolutely difficult to say what is more frightening for Americans. Is it another Al-Qaeda-related attack, or is it a homegrown, a homemade attack by an American terrorist? What comes to mind, of course, is the Oklahoma City bombing back in 1995, which came as a big shock to Americans. On the other hand, of course, we all know the tragedy of 9/11, and Americans have believed that these days were over, that for more than 10 years, there has been some sort of normalcy, creeping into their lives after the fear and after the tragedy. And now they're realizing the terror is back, and all the difficult times and all the difficult thoughts are back. So it's very, very difficult to say what Americans wish, a foreign or a domestic attack.
Stefan Grober in Boston, thanks very much for joining us. We'll hear from you soon.
Thank you, Mark.